You definitely win the award for best champagne. I've never gotten sprayed that good.
Dude, oh my gosh, is your camera all right?
Oh yeah, we're good.
I figured because you just like took it, I was like, yeah, it'll be okay.
Yeah, it's always worth the shot.
Whatever. That's a good spray. I got you.
I saw you make eye contact with me and I was like, oh. Exactly 1 month ago, my friends at Race Service flew me out to Indianapolis to meet up with IndyCar driver Josef Newgarden. This year, we're going to be documenting everything that goes on behind the scenes with him for his personal YouTube blog. So I've got to tell you now, if you want to learn more about Josef Newgarden beyond my video, definitely go and watch his YouTube series that we're doing. It's very well shot, you know, on all of our sick cameras that we have. So we're trying to do our best job for him that we possibly can. But I had never met Josef before, and getting to know him was really fun. I got to hang out with him during media day and watch him do some training. But now fast forward, and I'm in Florida at St. Pete for the first race, and gonna check out the IndyCar experience here. I've shot Formula One, I've shot drag racing and WRC and just about everything, but I've never shot IndyCar. So this should be a really fun experience for me. It was not easy getting my hard card and my vest, just a few little semantics that we had to work out, but everyone's been so friendly and easy to deal with. I'm excited to get to know Josef a little bit more. He's probably one of the most selfless drivers I've ever met. Most race car drivers are a little bit selfish, no offense, but Josef really is a sweetheart guy, and he's a lot of fun to hang out with. Just document the kinds of things he does throughout his life and show his, you know, fun, more down-to-earth side from the racing. A lot of times you don't get to see that from a driver. So I urge you to go watch a lot of his videos, but then also hopefully in this vlog you'll see some cool stuff as well behind the scenes of how it all works. Already messed up and forgot earplugs and sunscreen, but oh well. I wasn't really able to go to a media meeting, just kind of got a quick briefing from one of the people that's in charge, and you know, they just tell you the basic safety stuff. So I've never been to this track before. I'm not even really sure what places we're supposed to go and which we're not. I've got a map which pretty much looks like we can go anywhere as long as we're behind a barrier. That's kind of like one of the pillars of motorsports, is just stay behind a barrier, but we'll see. I'm just sitting in the office right now editing this video, so I want to pop in and make a few comments every once in a while. It was really nice of them to give me a vest, even though I didn't make the media meeting. You should definitely always try to make the media meeting. I've been to over 100 races in my career, and so I'm definitely a veteran of the sport, but I never feel good when I'm late to something like that, and I always want to learn about the rules and the different safety regulations that each sanctioning body has. That being said, it's kind of ironic that I have my camera sitting on the wall right there, because that is a no-no to put equipment on the wall, but the track was cold, so I just wanted to point that out. You know, I was literally already breaking the rules right there. Most of it's just trying to find a decent spot to shoot from. I didn't really bring any long lenses. Fox Sports gives us footage for us to use for the video, so I don't have to worry too much about getting on-track stuff, because I think the raw stuff they're going to give us is really good. Just jumping in really quickly again, this is a huge mistake to trust anyone that you don't really know if you've never seen the footage or worked with them before. And of course, I'm getting footage from Fox, so I assume it's going to be really good, but as usual, what ends up happening is they just send you a string out of the live stream, which isn't really that great. If I was actually getting the files off of their cameras, probably would have been decent, but they're not using the same cameras as I am. They're decent cameras and decent lenses, but they're very much broadcast style, and they have a very much of a different look that you'll see if you watch Josef's video. I did get quite a few shots of my own on the ground, you know, but of course those aren't as great as the guys that are up in the cherry pickers and have access to the helicopter stuff and all that. So don't ever rely on somebody else for footage unless you really trust that person, because the stuff they sent me it was okay. I would love to get some artsy-fartsy stuff on the red. I brought my anamorphic lens that I just got a few weeks ago, so I'm pumped to use that. It's pretty cool, but it's only a 42 millimeters, so it doesn't have a lot of reach. Kind of just waiting for the second session of qualifying to start right now. Josef already made it through the first part of it, and yeah, it's just been tough getting shots because there's kind of these fences and stuff everywhere. They've got some photo holes cut out, and there's quite a few. I think there's probably about 20 of them around the track, but every once in a while you find a little break in the fence like this and you can shoot through it. Now after I got my vest this morning, I got to go check out the Penske trailer where they work on all the cars, and it's pretty cool. It's not necessarily as crazy over-the-top custom as F1 is, but it's very clean, very cool environment. They've got like carbon fiber scales and stuff that the cars park on, and of course they're doing thousandths of inch toe ins and outs and stuff like that, so it's pretty fun to watch. I can't show a lot of the cars because I can't show what's under them when the engine covers are off, but it's a pretty cool thing to see up close, and there's a lot that goes into these things. I've gotten to wear shorts all day. I haven't shot a whole lot of racing series where you can wear shorts, but it makes me feel a little bit unprofessional, honestly. I might be able to get a blue vest, which lets us go over the wall in the pit. For that, I'll definitely have to wear pants. So I was finally starting to feel pretty comfortable. I figured out a little trick on the app. You can see where all the drivers are, so I could tell if Josef was in the pit or where he was on track to see if he was coming next. So that's a nice thing to know about. Probably a good thing to find out on my first race. And unfortunately, right as I was starting to get comfortable, Josef got knocked out in P10. So I guess our day is over for quali, but tomorrow will be the big race, and that's what really matters. So we'll go see what he's up to. I think we're gonna have a little barbecue. I'm sure he's not pumped, but I think he's happy that he made it into the top 10. So who normally cooks at your house?
I mean, honestly, it's normally my wife cooking at the house. She's incredible. Until she decides she doesn't want to cook at night, which does happen, then I DoorDash something.
So that was the end of day one, and I had a good time shooting on that anamorphic lens. It's really fun. It produces a really odd, like stretched out image, and this is because film used to be square, and so what they did to make it look more cinematic is they shot on this glass that would stretch the image. Then when they put the film on the projector, they used a lens that would unstretch or de-squeeze the footage. And you can get these lenses now for modern cameras, which is really cool. The problem being is that most modern cameras like mine shoot in 16:9 aspect ratio. So you're gonna end up with this insane widescreen image, which doesn't mean you have to use it. You can always punch in, but I do like somewhat of the look of the widescreen, and I also wanted to get as much real estate in there as possible. The problem is you start cutting, punching in, and you get a different focal length, basically. It didn't really work out that well for shooting some of the interviews with Josef. If you watch his video, you see a lot of the interviews are very close to his face because I'm off doing whatever, shooting something with the anamorphic lens, kind of just being artsy fartsy, and then all of a sudden I'd see him and he'd come running up and be like 2 feet away from me, and you know, before you know it, I can't zoom out because it's just a 42mm prime. So very fun lens to shoot on if you're trying to be artsy fartsy. Maybe not the best type of lens to be using for something like this where you've got to be run and gun, ready to go, which is why I also had that 20 to 55mm zoom lens, which is a spherical lens, so it shoots in just standard 16:9, but you gotta always kind of be prepared for something like that. My first day at an Indy Car race yesterday was pretty cool. Lots going on. I didn't really get to see Josef that much. He's a pretty busy guy during the race weekend, not surprisingly, but kind of got to lay out of the track and figure things out where I can go shoot from. It seems like there's a lot of different little spots. It's just tough being behind the fence, like I mentioned. It's race day, Josef's 10th, so hopefully he'll be able to pick up some places. It'd be nice to see him have a good finish today. I feel like every shoot there's got to be some type of mess up, screw up, casualty or something, and I was always waiting to see what it's going to be. There's always one. It's either like somebody wakes up late, doesn't make it to the track, or forgets their hard card or something. But I gotta say, I did destroy my 360 camera, and it literally happens in like 1 millisecond. I was squeezing in between a concrete hole, and it was attached to my backpack, and the lens like scratched along the concrete and basically just ruined the lens. And on the 360 cameras, once the lens is scratched a little bit, it's pretty much ruined. So they're like $300 to replace the lens, and I'm kind of over it. It's happened once before. So I might just keep the thing as kind of a damaged cam and use it for whatever. That was a little bit annoying and frustrating. Still learning lots of stuff. They've got a cool little board by the trailer that tells us the countdown for the next whatever is going on, quali or the race or whatever. So it's kind of nice to be able to keep an eye on that and know how much time we have. I went over to the trailer and I waited for Josef to come out because I had seen him go in and stood around for probably 15 minutes until I figured he probably wasn't there anymore. And I was right. He had snuck out the back door over to the pit, so I kind of missed him getting his helmet and stuff on, but I already shot a bunch of that yesterday, so I wasn't too bummed. I ended up staying in the pit the entire 20-minute warm-up session. I got to see a few pit stops. Definitely got in the way a couple times. The guy holding the flagpole kind of had some issues getting the flag back in, and I thought it was on my bad for a second, but once I watched the GoPro footage back, I saw that it was actually from getting caught on something, so it wasn't me, thank God.
I don't know if I did a great job explaining this. Basically, this guy was trying to throw the pole backwards and it hit a toolbox, and so the thing got hung up on the wall right there. You can see him kind of reaching over and trying to help Caitlin, that front tire changer, grab the tire, because it's a huge penalty to have the tire roll out into the track. You could end up with a race penalty, basically. Luckily, this is just during warm-up. You can still be penalized during warm-up, but it didn't mess up the pit stop. You know, it was kind of just a practice. So I grabbed that stick and put it on the other side of him so that he was out of the way. And I don't think he really realized what happened there, but they figured it out and everything was sorted after that.
And for the first time, I stayed around to see Josef get out of the car and interview him after the session, which I hadn't done yet. So he forgot to turn his cool suit on, so he was pretty sweaty. Hopefully that was a good learning lesson for him to not forget that during the race. But yeah, I'm just gonna follow him around for a little bit, shoot him making some appearances and going to hospitality. And then basically after that, the race is gonna start. I'm gonna kind of have like 2 hours or so on my own just to walk around the track, so maybe I'll finally find some good places to shoot from.
All right, Josef, what's going through your head now? 5 minutes till we got to get in the car.
And I'm ready. I'm trying to stay focused here. You just always got to kind of bring yourself back down. It's another day. It's another race.
Be right here. What's your favorite part of the race?
Good to see you again.
When it's over.
Just get Timmy.
I already knew that answer.
Oh yeah. Nerves galore.
Yeah. We do not have earbuds.
Trying to keep calm.
We do not have earbuds.
This is great that this track had a bunch of photo holes cut in it. The only problem is a big thing about safety with motorsports is you do not want to lean through that hole. These holes are cut, you know, perpendicular to the track. So if you're going to point your camera out, you're kind of just pointing perpendicularly at the car, and the thing is going to go by at 200 miles an hour. Problem is you can't really get a head-on shot of the car unless you're at a right angle of a turn, which you'll see a little bit later in the video. I kind of got to do that. But most of these photo holes that are cut out on like the inside of a corner are practically useless, because unless you can actually hang out of that photo hole and shoot the car coming on, which there's no way I would have done that. You can see in this video the cars are literally passing, almost touching this wall. This might have been one of the most freaked out times I've been like in motorsports, aside from some crashes and things that I've seen, because these cars are going so incredibly fast and you're literally standing like inches away from them. So it's pretty wild.
We're like almost touching the wall right here. This is really a pretty difficult track to shoot. I haven't really gotten anything great yet. You're so close to the action, but the fence is also so much in the way. I'm not sure if a long lens would have even been usable here. So the race just started. I shot in the pit for the first 5 laps, and there was a pretty significant crash. So got to see an early pit stop, which was nice. So I got that out of the way. Now I can kind of just get lost out here and find all the fun places to shoot from.
Anytime that you're pitting under yellow, the rest of the cars that are still on track are having to go much slower, so they're gaining a lot less ground on you while you're in the pit. He had the green tires on, and those are the soft compound. They have a really high fall off, so he probably only would have been able to do a couple of really fast laps anyways. They went with the medium compound after this, and it was kind of more of a longer stint after that where he could really edge in some time on the other competitors. Then when they pitted, he could really catch up to them and gain a lot of ground, and I think he ended up doing 3 pit stops total. So whatever they did ended up working out really well for them.
All right, so I managed to find one decent spot. I was able to see the car straight on as they were coming at a turn out, the fence being in my way. I could shoot between the holes here. So yeah, we'll keep on going. Can probably do the reverse of it, of them leaving 2 on the other side over here.
So of
course I wanted to do, but I forgot he had pitted really
I was trying to
early.
explain here that I had basically forgotten that Josef had pitted, and I was really excited hoping that he would finish well, and he was pretty much at the mid-pack at this point. So I kind of had wrote the whole thing off and that we weren't going to get anything near a good result, but then suddenly the rest of the field pitted and Josef was suddenly leading the race.
I also have like no idea what happened because the app is looking here. The internet's pretty much messed up, and it hasn't been on like 20 minutes. The only way I knew he was leading was I heard it over the overcom. I actually probably could have used a bit longer lens. I feel like every once in a while you kind of end up in a place that's a little bit questionable, but those are usually where the best shots are at.
I was doing a pretty good job explaining this here, but the cars were so loud that it really messed up the audio. So the idea is that even though you're not standing behind a catch fence here, all the momentum and inertia and everything of the cars, if there was something to happen, all the debris would just go flying right past you more than likely. And there is kind of a catch fence behind the camera. You can see the shadow that's really blocking anything from coming towards me. This is probably actually a lot safer than if you were on the outside of an apex behind a catch fence, because at that moment then you are putting yourself in the debris path. It's also a cool place because you get a different angle than anywhere else I stood. So once again, the audio was kind of loud here when I was explaining this, but this is literally Josef's motorhome that he sleeps in while he's at the track. Not some fancy hotel. Him and his family, his wife and his kid all sleep in this thing during the race weekend, kind of like NASCAR style, which I was actually pretty surprised about because I felt like my accommodation was a heck of a lot nicer at the hotel down the street. But that was a pretty cool thing to see, and it was kind of a fun little area that we could powwow in. I forgot to mention earlier when we did that whole barbecue scene, it was supposed to be like a cool, chill, laid-back barbecue thing, and all the filmmakers and documentary people from Fox and like the Netflix series that they're shooting called 100 Days Indy pretty much came in and like sabotaged our whole entire thing. And I think Josef was expecting it, but I wasn't really expecting there to be so many people there. I thought it was going to be more of kind of like a quiet time that we had just to film some fun stuff, but they ended up hanging out, interviewing him for like 30 minutes and kind of like elbowed me out.
It's so difficult to win at once.
Some people just pitted, so he's in second. I would probably get my together because there might be some celebration. All right, well, that ended up being a lot of fun. Josef was pretty dang close to fighting for first position, but he ended up running out of gas and lost spot down to third place. So a little bit of a bummer there, but a really good way to start the season in third, get some points on the board. He ended up not even making it all the way around the track. After he crossed the checkered flag, they had to retrieve the car, and he ended up walking to the podium, but it was a good time. He sprayed me right in the face with champagne pretty good, so definitely enjoyed that, but made sure I wiped the camera down properly, so I have to find some wet wipes. Other than that, my first IndyCar experience has been really fun.
All right, well, that's it. Thanks for watching. The camera was okay after getting the champagne sprayed on it. There was a couple of tiny little sticky things. The power button on my monitor was a little funky, but all good. Also, the little microphone sock thing kind of smells like old beer now, like you would smell it like a bottle return. But other than that, everything's all good. So I'll be shooting the Indy 500 with him in like a month, I think. So hopefully we'll be able to make something really cool out there. I'm going to spend the whole week just checking everything out with him. And yeah, really looking forward to that. So thanks for watching. Check your polarizer.